Hello and welcome to Janette's I'm Every Woman TV. I'm your host, Janette Burke. Now, women in business, this one is for you. You see, more and more women are in business, but yet they're afraid to toot their own horn or even promote themselves, which is a dangerous thing. So I have brought the rechargeable entrepreneur, Reid himself, to come in here and talk about how to create a signature talk, which is something that he's really getting into now. So, welcome, Jason.
Hi, Janette.
Hi, how are you today?
It's great to be here. I'm awesome.
Thanks, I'm glad. So you heard this intro, and it's true.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely true. Now, Jason, why are women so afraid to toot their own horn?
You know, I think it's actually something that starts out when they're younger, because I think women are socialized not to be loud, not to put themselves in front of people, not to be brash. And unfortunately, sometimes that actually ends up hurting them when they get into business and they need to promote themselves. But the one thing I really like about doing something like a signature talk is it's really all about providing value to the audience by giving people, you know, kind of an insight on their problems and, you know, how to deal with them and the next steps to that. And I find that that's something that really appeals to them, and the idea of adding value.
I agree. So having a signature talk can really change the fear of promoting yourself, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Now, until recently, Jason, you really were a general marketing coach known as the Rechargeable Entrepreneur. But something happened, and you have now gone into creating signature talks, and you actually have a workshop coming up. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But why the change? Like, why would you want to go into this? I know you have a TV background, I know you have a comedy background, and I know that you're applying all the skills here in teaching people how to do signature talks. But you know, what created this need for change?
Yeah, well, you know what, I love what I'm doing now. Not that I didn't love it before, but this is a lot of fun for me. And you know, the one thing to realize is, you know, even when I was doing my general business and marketing coaching, I was promoting myself primarily through speaking. That's how I was getting about 90% of my clients. So it was something I was doing on a regular basis. But also, like you said, I've got some kind of unique skills and a unique background. So when I was in my 20s, I was writing comedy and I was also writing screenplays. So one of the interesting things about that was, you know, occasionally I would go down to Hollywood and I would have to pitch script ideas to movie producers, which was...
What a horrible task.
Well, you know what, it was actually kind of unnerving when I started, because I didn't realize the type of pressure that you're under. Because obviously movies, I mean, they're multi-million-dollar projects. And as a writer, when you go down to see a producer, often you only get 30 seconds to actually sell your idea. So, you know, I started to get very good at doing that very sort of kind of pure 30 seconds worth of sales. And then when I left that, I spent 20 years in journalism, in television journalism. So I was a TV news writer and a story editor and a TV executive. And, you know, some of the things that I've learned there are things like, you know, being able to write the way people talk, which is a real skill, which I now bring to my clients. Another thing is basically taking very complicated issues and subjects and being able to really simplify them and being able to deliver those clearly. So if you think of a TV newscast, sometimes they're talking about a war or politics or something really complex, and they have only 30 seconds to tell you about it. So that was another really key skill I learned. And the other key skill was really being able to tell true life stories in a way that get people's attention. And those are all things that are really crucial when you're an entrepreneur looking to promote yourself in a signature talk. So this has been a real good fit for me.
Okay, so we know you've created a lot of talks. We know you used to work also with the Weather Network, right?
Yeah, among other places, yeah.
And the talk that you're going to be giving or presenting on the 18th of April, which is Speak to Sell, is a way of teaching people to do signature talk. You in your products, including what we're giving away today, and we'll tell a little bit more about that after, but you talk about those 3 key components to any talk, to any signature talk. and that it needs to be constructed around some key points, such as, and I'm quoting you here, story, adding drama, adding humor, pacing, and structure. I'd like you to tell me how you help integrate these key elements into signature talk for your clients, and if you could only pick 3, what would be the top 3?
Okay, so I think really the first thing that I really teach my clients is to let go of the fear of stepping into the spotlight. So in some ways, reach is really the first big thing that I teach them, in that, to promote yourself, you really have to go out in front of a lot of your potential clients and speak as often as possible to them. The other big thing is clarity, is having a very clear structure in your talk so that people can follow you as you're teaching them, your 2 or 3 key message points. And in addition to that, having a very clear call to action. And that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs forget to do. They'll do a great talk, but then they're not clear about what they want their audience to do next. And particularly women sometimes forget when they talk, they're actually building fans. And those fans are people who may be interested in working with them and may want to wonder what the next step is. So to be very clear in giving people what that next step is. So clarity is huge, along with reach. And then the last big thing is impact. And when I say impact, what I'm really talking about is emotional impact. Because we all know that people, for anybody who has a marketing background, we know that people make their buying decisions based on emotion as opposed to logic. And that's also how you get people to pay attention as well. So if you're able to build true life stories into your talk about yourself or your clients and how you've helped them with their problems, that's really going to provide a huge amount of impact and is going to really help you sell yourself at the end of the talk.
And where does the humor come in? And the drama?
Yeah. Well, I think the drama is part of the emotional impact. So I teach people how to tell stories in a way that are true, but also highlight, the actual human drama of, what people have felt and the obstacles that they've overcome. And, humor is an important thing too. And I always make sure to tell people not to tell jokes, because jokes can sometimes fall flat, but to actually find sort of the humorous anecdotes within their own personal stories and to really highlight those.
And it's funny because, recently I met Mayim Bialik, and she is part of the Big Bang Theory. And when she was talking about comedy, she said, comedy is actually tragedy times 2. Mm-hmm. So, you think about that, and it's funny, but yet when you see comedic actors can also be very good at storytelling and being very dramatic too.
Absolutely. And some of the best tragedy actors are actually people who come from comedy.
Exactly. Yeah. And comedy, because you even in comedy, to make someone laugh, you have to often think about the pain of your past to bring it forth. Okay, so moving right along, having a signature talk, according to you, and I quoted this, can elevate and position your clients as their client's problem solver, which I thought was pretty cool. So why don't you elaborate on that for us?
Okay, so if you're an expert, if you're a coach or consultant, or a service-based entrepreneur, and even sometimes if you sell a product as well, what you're really doing is solving your client's problem, whatever that problem happens to be. And the great thing about a signature talk is if you orient that talk towards taking your expertise and showing how you use that expertise to help clients solve their problems, then that provides a huge amount of credibility, and that provides a lot of power, and that's going to make a signature talk that will not only wow your audience, but also make people want to hire you, because you're going to be seen as that go-to expert, that person to go to when people have that problem.
Okay, another thing that you shared with me, which I also found interesting, and I think kind of maybe separates you from some other speaking type of coaches, which I would like you to maybe talk a little bit on how you feel you differ from other speaking coaches. But the one thing that you talked to me about was that you said content should always trump performance. So why is that, number one? And how do you use that to distinguish yourself from other speaking coaches?
Well, that's a great question. And what I should do first is sort of differentiate the idea of content and performance training.
Okay.
So when I talk about content, I'm talking about not just the topic and subject of your talk and the structure, but also the words and phrases that you use. And then the performance training revolves around how you deliver those words and phrases. Now, what I learned from television is that if you create good content, if you create a talk with phrases that are clear and strong and authentic to you, meaning there are things that you would say in natural conversation, when you get up on that stage, you're naturally going to be clear and strong and authentic. And while performance training is great, I think if people start out with a really good talk and really focus on having that content that speaks to them, that's really the best first step. And then they can learn things like posture and speaking voice and breathing a little bit later if they want to.
Is there anything one should avoid when creating content?
I think the biggest thing is to avoid overloading people with information. Again, 2 or 3 really key points is more than enough, even if you're doing a longer talk, even if you're doing an hour-long talk or an hour-and-a-half talk, 3 or 4 points maximum, and then use things like stories, true life stories, also asking the audience questions, because if you give people too much information, they're just not going to remember it and they're going to get confused.
Right, and they tune out also because they can't process.
Yeah.
All right. One of your mottos that I absolutely love is humanity is the new credibility. Why is that?
Well, it's interesting. It's something that I thought about the other day in that, we used to view credibility as coming from information and knowing things. But now with the internet, you can look up, tips and strategies on building a 7-figure business on a website and then go out and recite it the next day at a business event. So just having that information doesn't automatically make you credible anymore as a speaker and a business person. But what does is actually having that human experience with what you do. So if you can tell, again, true life stories about yourself and going through things and overcoming obstacles, and to give you a great example, when I was a business coach, I talked about a point in my life when I was sick, broken, unemployable, and I lost my condo, I lost my wife, I lost my job, and I talked about the key things that I had to do to change my life around, which I did. A few years later, I was an award-winning TV executive, and I was making a lot of money, and I was traveling around the world, which was great. And, to me, those sorts of real human experiences that we've lived, if we can communicate those are the things that really provide us credibility, because people then know that our wisdom comes from real experience as opposed to something we just read in a book 2 minutes ago.
Okay, we've got to get down to the nitty-gritties because we're running a little bit out of time. What I want to talk heavy duty about your upcoming workshop on Saturday, April 18th. Let's talk about the details of it, who should be there, how they can register, etc.
Okay, so the workshop on the 18th is at the Sandman Signature Airport Hotel in Toronto, and it's basically for coaches, consultants, and other service-based entrepreneurs who really want to take their speaking to the next level in terms of marketing themselves. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the key elements of a signature talk, and everybody at the workshop is actually going to leave with a 1 or 2 minute long mini version of their own signature talk. So it's going to be awesome.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to being there because I'm going to be a participant. I want to mention the website link to register for that is http://speak to sell you. That's speak to sell you, Y-O-U spelled out, .com, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about your giveaway today. And it's pretty good actually. So for people coming to this signature talk workshop, they can actually claim a giveaway that gives them a little bit of a jump start on it. You've got 2 modules from Speak to Sell virtual workshop, and these modules are not just any modules. They help create a personal story, and they help to define your brand in your business is one module. The other module helps you identify the key points of any talk you want to create, signature talk, which is kind of handy to have. Retail value $200. And if you want to claim this great prize, you need to go to www.Janette, Janette, Burke, JanetteBurke.com. There's something right at the top on the home page called Enter to Win Great Giveaways. And what we do is we have you sign up to win those giveaways. You just put your name and your contact information, and the lucky winner will be presented to Jason, who will then follow up with you with these amazing tools. They really are tools. And again, just to remind everyone, it's 2 modules from his Speak to Sell virtual workshop, and there is another live component happening on April 18th. These workshop modules will get you ready. They help you take a personal story, create a personal story that defines your business and your brand. That's one module. The other module is audios and workbooks that help lucky women in business create building blocks they need to speak about their business, which, you know, it's very essential. This is what we're talking about today. Now, Jason, we need to be able to reach you as well. So please tell us how we can do that.
Okay, well, the 2 best ways, number 1 is through my website, which is rechargemymojo.com. That's all one word, rechargemymojo.com. And you can also reach me on Twitter at rechargemymojo. Easy.
And a phone number?
A phone number at 905-781-4809.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Janette. It's been great.
And thank you for being with us. If you are a woman in business, it's essential that you get out and promote yourself every opportunity you can. Speaking is one of the best ways to do that next to media. Jason has a lot of answers and tools for you. I hope to see you April 18th at his Speak to Sell workshop at the Sandman Hotel. I will be there. Hope to see you there. And I want to thank you for being with us today. Until next time, continue to be fabulous. This is Janette Burke signing off for Janette's I'm Every Woman TV. Please like, follow, share. We're all over all the social media platforms. Comment, get your family involved. We have a hashtag Janette's I'm Every Woman TV.